So, Hussein, I think there's a lot of people in our audience, like myself, who are in academia. We work on social media channels for our respective department or organization or school. And we're doing the best we can. We're not professional at it, but we're trying to grow our audiences. We're trying to create good content. Sometimes we run ads, but there's a lot of things we could learn from a professional like yourself. So, what would you have to say to all the people out there, let's just say in higher ed, running social media channels, doing the best they can? What are some of the things we could do to make those channels better, grow our audiences, keep in mind, not do? Any advice you have would be fantastic.
Yeah, certainly. In fact, this is one of the things that I'm in the process of doing currently, I recently joined Columbia as a marketing manager for Columbia Plus, Columbia's online learning platform for lifelong learners. And one of the first things um, I made it a priority to do was to develop our social media strategy. And that could be one of the most difficult things for anyone to do because you're starting from a blank canvas. And so what I always tell people is, start simple. Just start with your overarching goal. And for most social media campaigns, your overarching goal is oftentimes to humanize your brand, humanize your department, your office, give something to the public that makes it seem that you're a lot more accessible, and that there are real people behind whether it's the organization or the department that you're developing a social media strategy for. Once I, sort of reset myself with that understanding and intention, I like to start by figuring out what my strategic objectives are, and these can really be anything. They shouldn't only be to say drive enrollments, for instance. It shouldn't just be transactional. So, for instance, your strategic objectives may include things like establishing thought leadership in our industry. Say you work for a particular department, be it arts and science, business. You want the world to see you as a group of experts in the field. You want to position your brand as a thought leader in the industry, and with that, you develop trust and brand affinity. So you start with your strategic objectives. Some good ones to start with could include things like establish ourselves as thought leaders, develop a greater community and engagement with people who are familiar with us, who either attend our school, who take classes, or even people who may consider learning as an immediate near term option for themselves. So identify what those strategic objectives are, be very clear with them. Because once you establish those, then I always recommend, well, then, what are then your values as an organization through which, through the content that you're going to be developing on social media will reflect those values. So your values might be things like excellence and expertise in all things, that, your department or school has a higher than normal commitment to a particular ideal. What are those? Is inclusion and accessibility an ideal and a value, or is it, we're a group of people who don't take ourselves too seriously? Some brands do that; they go down the path of humor and comedy. Once you identify your values and your strategic objectives, that will actually make the rest of the process a lot easier. From there, do a little bit of competitive analysis, try to identify other organizations or entities that are also on social media, learn from them. What are they doing that's good and working? What isn't? And sometimes that might require a little bit of actual detailed research. You don't want to just look at the overall channels of your competitors, but actually identify what are the types of posts that they publish on a regular basis, and try to come up with sort of some way of measurement to determine what types of posts seem to drive greater engagement and which ones don't. Because those could be great thought starters for you when you actually are developing or brainstorming your own content strategy for social media. And last but not least, have a plan for how you're going to measure your social media efforts. Uh, you know, when you are doing your brainstorm around your content strategy, make sure that whatever ideas you have, that you categorize each idea with some sort of category, so some sort of content pillar or category. That way, when you do start posting and publishing, you could keep track of every single one of your posts, which category of posts they belong to, and then you could do sort of a comparison over time as to which types of posts or which types of content pillars drive the most engagement, drive the most leads, and help you achieve your objectives better than the rest. And then you sort of rinse and repeat, test new things out. Don't be afraid to stop doing certain things that might have seemed like a good idea at first, but it just turned out that it didn't resonate with your respective communities. And just keep testing and learning. There are no expert marketers in the world. One of my old mentors used to say this all the time. There are no expert marketers in the world, only expert testers.